Saudi Arabia is one of those countries people think they understand, until they look closer. It is often reduced to a few familiar images: desert landscapes, oil wealth, Mecca, royal palaces, and dramatic modern construction projects. But the real story is much bigger. Saudi Arabia is a vast country in West Asia, occupying most of the Arabian Peninsula and sitting at the center of the Middle East's geography, religion, energy markets, and regional politics. Its land area is about 2.15 million square kilometers, making it the largest country in the Middle East and one of the largest in the world. Yet much of that territory is harsh, dry, and sparsely populated. This tension between enormous land, difficult environment, sacred history, and extraordinary resource wealth has shaped almost every part of the kingdom's identity. Geography is the first key to understanding Saudi Arabia. The country borders the Red Sea to the west and the Arabian Gulf to the east, making it the only nation with coastlines on both bodies of water. That matters because these waters connect Saudi Arabia to Africa, Europe, South Asia, and global shipping routes. To the north are Jordan, Iraq, and Kuwait. To the east are Bahrain, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, with Oman to the southeast and Yemen to the south. Much of the interior is desert, steppe, lowland, and mountain terrain. This geography created isolation in some areas, trade links in others, and a constant need to manage movement, water, and settlement across an unforgiving landscape. Before the modern Saudi state existed, the Arabian Peninsula was already historically important. Archaeological evidence shows that the region contains some of the earliest traces of human activity outside Africa. Long before oil, cities, highways, and skyscrapers, Arabia was a place of migration, trade, tribal networks, and ancient cultures. Its deserts were not empty in the way outsiders often imagine. They were crossed by caravan routes, inhabited by communities adapted to difficult conditions, and connected to wider worlds through trade and pilgrimage. Understanding this older Arabia helps explain why the region could later become the birthplace of a movement with global consequences. Saudi Arabia's importance did not begin with petroleum. It began with geography, people, and history. The most transformative chapter in the region's history began in the early 7th century with the emergence of Islam in what is now Saudi Arabia. The Prophet Muhammad united much of the Arabian Peninsula into a single religious and political community. After his death in 632, Muslim rule expanded far beyond Arabia with extraordinary speed, reaching North Africa, Central Asia, South Asia, and Iberia within decades. Dynasties connected to Arabia helped establish major Islamic caliphates, including the Rashidun, Umayyad, Abbasid, and Fatimid periods. This history gives Saudi Arabia a religious significance that no oil field or modern development plan can replace. It is home to Mecca and Medina, the two holiest cities in Islam, and that makes the kingdom central to the spiritual lives of Muslims worldwide. Modern Saudi Arabia, however, is much newer than its religious history might suggest. The kingdom was founded in 1932 by King Abdulaziz, also known as Ibn Saud. His rise was not a simple administrative merger. It was the result of decades of military and political campaigns that began in 1902 and gradually united regions including Najd, Hijaz, parts of eastern Arabia, and Asir. These areas had different histories, identities, and strategic importance. Hijaz included Mecca and Medina. Eastern Arabia later became crucial because of oil. Najd was the political heartland of the House of Saud. The creation of Saudi Arabia was therefore a state-building project, turning diverse regions, tribal loyalties, religious authority, and dynastic power into one kingdom. Saudi Arabia is governed as an absolute monarchy under the House of Saud. In its basic law, the country defines itself as a sovereign Arab Islamic state, with Islam as its official religion and Arabic as its official language. This political structure is important because Saudi Arabia does not function like a constitutional democracy with competitive national elections and elected executive power. Authority is concentrated in the monarchy and state institutions shaped by royal rule. For much of its modern history, Saudi political life was also strongly influenced by the ultra-conservative Wahhabi movement within Sunni Islam. This alliance between political power and religious authority shaped law, education, social norms, and public life, although its influence has been reduced in recent years. The discovery of petroleum in 1938 changed Saudi Arabia more than almost any other single event. Before oil, the kingdom was not a global economic giant. After oil, it became one of the world's most important energy powers. Saudi Arabia is one of the largest oil producers and exporters on earth, and it controls some of the world's largest proven oil reserves. Oil revenues transformed the state's ability to build roads, cities, universities, hospitals, airports, and government institutions. They also changed the relationship between citizens and the state. Saudi Arabia has no personal income tax, offers free university tuition, and provides universal health care. These benefits are deeply tied to the country's resource wealth and the political economy built around it. Oil also made Saudi Arabia globally strategic. Energy importing countries cannot ignore a state with such influence over supply, prices, and reserves. Saudi Arabia is a founding force within OPEC, a member of the G20, and a major partner of the United States, including as a major non-NATO ally. Its decisions can affect inflation, fuel prices, national budgets, and industrial planning across the world. But dependence on oil creates a problem too. A country built around hydrocarbons must ask what happens if global energy systems change, if prices fall, or if younger citizens need jobs beyond the oil sector. Saudi wealth is powerful, but it is also a reason the kingdom has had to think seriously about diversification. Saudi Arabia's society is young and unusually international. The country has a population of about 33.7 million, making it one of the most populous Arab states. Roughly half of Saudi citizens are under 25, which means the kingdom's future is being shaped by a large generation that grew up in a more connected world than their parents did. At the same time, foreign-born residents make up roughly 40% of the population, one of the highest immigrant shares in the world. This is because Saudi Arabia relies heavily on foreign labor, from construction and domestic work to professional services and technical industries. The result is a society where national identity, youth expectations, labor markets, and migration are tightly linked. Since the mid-2010s, Saudi Arabia has introduced social, cultural, and economic reforms that would have seemed unlikely only a generation earlier. Public entertainment has expanded. Cinemas reopened. Tourism has been promoted. Restrictions in some areas of daily life have been loosened. The country is also trying to rebrand itself through large-scale development plans, business reforms, and major infrastructure projects. These reforms are often presented as modernization, but they also serve a strategic purpose, preparing the country for a post-oil future, attracting investment, creating jobs, and keeping a young population engaged. The change is real, but it is also controlled from above. Saudi Arabia is liberalizing parts of social life without becoming a liberal democracy. That controlled transformation is one reason Saudi Arabia is often viewed through contradictions. It is a high-income country with advanced infrastructure, but it is also criticized for restrictions on political and civil liberties. It is a major diplomatic player, but its role in the Yemeni civil war has attracted serious international criticism. It is opening entertainment and tourism, while still maintaining strict limits on dissent. These tensions are not side issues. They are central to how Saudi Arabia operates. The state is trying to modernize quickly, maintain royal authority, preserve religious legitimacy, diversify the economy, and manage outside pressure at the same time. Few countries are attempting so many transformations while holding political power so tightly centralized. The capital, Riyadh, represents much of Saudi Arabia's future-facing ambition. It is the largest city and the political center of the kingdom. Jeddah, on the Red Sea, has long served as a commercial gateway and a major entry point for pilgrims. Mecca and Medina remain sacred centers of global Islam, bringing millions of Muslims into direct contact with Saudi authority through pilgrimage. These cities show the different faces of the country: administrative power, trade and connection, religious guardianship, and modern urban expansion. Saudi Arabia is not simply desert and oil. It is a country where holy cities, financial ambition, geopolitical strategy, and population growth all intersect in physical places that carry very different meanings. So what is Saudi Arabia, in the simplest terms? It is a desert kingdom built on ancient routes, Islamic history, royal rule, and world-changing oil wealth. It is a regional power and a middle power with influence far beyond its population size. It is a young society led by an old monarchy, a religiously significant state pursuing rapid modernization, and an oil giant trying to prepare for a more uncertain energy future. To understand Saudi Arabia, you have to hold all of these facts together at once. Its importance comes not from one thing, but from the combination: sacred geography, strategic location, enormous resources, centralized power, and a future that the kingdom is trying to redesign before the old model runs out of time. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.